into the big most of it. All right, we're a minute in. Hi guys, my name is Christina Monique Walker, and this is going to be my first of several videos in a series of personal growth and personal development within me. I'm sorry if the lighting is issued. There's no overhead lighting in my apartment, so we're just going to have to work with what we got, okay? Okay, so first things first, today's video is going to be going over 10 reasons and ways that you can be a good person. I know that may seem kind of trivial, but I also don't think that a lot of people understand what it means to be a good person. They may think they're a good person, but if they break any of these 10 simple values, I don't see how you can be in that aspect. I'm not saying that you're 100% not a good person and that you're a crap person. It's just the fact that you may need to reevaluate some of the values that are in your life. Okay? So I'm going to say that this, and I'm keeping this real and not cutting anything because I want you to get the realness of me. And yeah, everybody makes mistakes and everybody has a lot of flubs. And I'll do my best to avoid those. But I also want to make sure that you see me for who I actually am and see how my beliefs and my passion go through this without cutting out any of the extra crap. All right? So first things first, today's topic comes from this. So, well, it shows up backwards for me. Not really sure about for you. But it's Impact Deck by a company called Best Self Co. Okay? And so if you want to follow any of this information on the back of this card, which came in the deck of cards that I got, so be it, but you don't have to. So Best Self Company basically provides a series and variety of products to help you become your best self. Literally, it's in their title. So this Impact Deck has different tiers of cards. Excuse me. 1 is affirmations, 2 are reflections, and 3 are actions. Now, daily for me, I pull 1 of each of these cards, and that is my first thought of how I go throughout my day, right? Those are my thoughts, my actions, and what I need to reflect on, right? I'm not sure if you can hear the people outside my apartment complex not cleaning, but like weed whacking, but whatever. I'm glad I have my window shut because I am so allergic to pollen. But as I was saying, so I pull 1 of each of these cards, reflection, action, and affirmation. And this morning I pulled my reflections card, and it says, take 10 minutes to identify what being a good person means to you. So notice how it says to you, because we're all uniquely different people. And so after I go through all of the 10 reasons what I believe makes you a good person, you are so welcome to fill in my comments or fill in the comment section with your opinions, comments, questions, concerns, rebuttals, any and all of the above and anything beyond. Okay? So again, 10 minutes. I can't read that backwards. 10 minutes to identify what being a good person means to me. All right. So let's get this show on the road because I've already wasted about 5 minutes of your time. And till we get to the 5-minute point, Christina Monique Walker from Knoxville, Tennessee. And my goal for this video is just to inspire and motivate and maybe give you a new perspective in life. Okay? All right. So I didn't prep this. It's okay. Again, no flubs because mistakes in life happen and nothing goes smoothly, or nothing typically goes smooth. It can if you do a lot of prep, but this is kind of spur of the moment. So here we go. 10 reasons in more than 10 minutes because of that. 10 reasons of what being a good person means to me. So number 1, no matter your past, you cannot use that as ammunition against other people. And so what I mean about that is, say, for me, for example, you guys are going to get a lot of information about me today. For me, for example, I came up with a lot of trauma and a lot of a lot of conditioning that was not well suited with how the real world worked, right? So I grew up as a performer. I was surrounded by a bunch of people, creative and non, and my life sort of kind of went effortlessly, right? So I had a very easy time physically, but emotionally and spiritually, it was more along the lines of what is going on with my life? Well, I never really took the time to think about it. And I'm going to just continue going through the motions because that's all I know to do. So, with my past and my traumatic events of not having a father, sexual abuse, we'll get into that in a different video, and how you don't let it define you. It's more along the lines of I learned how to hold my feelings in because I never had the chance to express them. And so when you don't get to fully learn how to express your feelings at a young age, you repress them. Instead of expressing them, you repress them. And through that repression, you either turn passive aggressive, which is that anger and that rage that's stuck inside of you, leaking out in sarcasm and or mildly abusive language. I'm not saying like you're calling them an MF and you're a B and a C, all of the alphabets of cuss words. It's more along the lines of just like, yeah, but what of it? It's more along, you understand what I mean, right? So passive aggressive behavior is not healthy. And so that passive aggressive behavior comes from repressed anger and rage and trauma that you have never actually been able to deal with. And so if you treat people like that, that is a sign that you need to resolve it. That way you do not negate your feelings of wanting to be a good person and the best person that you can be by displaying this behavior to the people that you actually may care for, right? Okay, so number 2, no matter your vice or addiction, don't let it ruin anybody else's life. If you do, I personally cannot say that you're a good person because you are letting an external thing, an external addiction caused by an internal trauma to ruin somebody that you care about, ruin their life, their livelihood, their attachment to you, and who knows, you can ruin your life as well. Now, when it comes to addiction, coming from the daughter of an addict and someone who has also struggled with addiction herself, please note that every addiction stems from depression in some way, shape, or form. It stems from a form of dissatisfaction somewhere in your life where you are using that vice to fill that void that you have no idea how to fill any other way. It can be a sex addiction, a porn addiction, a weed addiction, because you can get addicted to weed. That's a conversation for a different video. Alcohol addiction, Molly addiction, Coke addiction, mushrooms addiction, Adderall addiction, peyote addiction, ketamine addiction, like anything that you can get, opioid addiction, anything that you can get addicted to, it is attached to a void within your spirit and your soul that you don't know how to fill. And that is technically filled with trauma. So that void is not filled with the love and the resolution that you need it to be filled with, but trauma. And that trauma feels so bad that you have to use an external vice to fix it. Now, I'm not saying a drink every now and then means you're addicted. I'm saying that if you have to drink 6 to 12 beers a night just to go to sleep, you're addicted. If you have to smoke weed constantly every day to get through the day, you're addicted. Okay? So I'm not going to go anywhere else on that. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, or rebuttals, feel free to leave them in the comments and I will respond to every single one of them. Okay? All right. Number 3. This is my kitty, guys. I don't know. Little bloop. Hi. Okay. So number 3, my third reason of what it means to be a good person. When you don't look down on somebody based off their job or income or their race. That's the next one, but we'll get to that. So looking down on somebody by their job or their income, you become who you are around. Okay? You can see her in the background. She's just going to play around. You become who you're around. So say that you're in a family who knows nothing else but being a factory worker, and you never had that opportunity to realize that there's more to life than being a factory worker. Okay? So if you're a factory worker, you're not getting paid very much, and you're probably either scraping by or just living comfortably. And that's totally okay. You live the life that you want to live. And if you come across a different way of living, then you can try it. And if you don't like it, then go back to the way you were living. No one's telling you how to live here. I'm just telling you my reasons or ways to be the best person that you can be to everyone in life, right? Not only to yourself, but to everyone that matters in your life. So when you look down on somebody for how much they make or what kind of job they have, janitors and garbage people, they help keep our earth clean. Versus influencers, not saying anything bad about influencers because I love watching your content, girl, but all they're doing is taking pictures of where they get to spend a lot of money to go from. So it's more along the lines of, hey, well, you're a person and I'm a person. And even though I may be a CEO of a multi-million-dollar company, you as my janitor, your role in this company is just as important to my role as the owner of this company. And so keeping that in mind is a way to keep in check of being a good person overall, because you're not letting your status affect how you treat other human beings. Okay? Now, I do have an exception to this. If your personality is dung beetle poop, because I'm really trying not to cuss on this video. If your personality is dung beetle poop, you need to reevaluate yourself and check yourself. You need to look in the mirror and see what inside of you is causing you to be such a douche to other people, right? Well, I think I made this to where it's not for children, so I think I can cuss, but I'm still going to limit it because you shouldn't have to cuss every single word. It just shows a little bit of unintelligence. In my opinion, again, just my opinion, guys, I used to be someone, I'm going on a little side road, but I used to be someone that cussed every other word. And it showed that I was not open-minded enough to learn a different vocabulary or learn how to speak in a professional manner. Because if you're in an interview, you can't do that. You can't. If you're going for a position for a promotion or an interview for a promotion, you can't do that. In the business world, that's not tolerated. So on someone's personality, if you are kind and courteous and genuine, you'll get a long way in this world. But if you are rude and crude and mean and vulgar and selfish, you may get a lot of money in this world, because that's a conversation for a different day. But you'll never actually truly be happy when you're 100 years old on your deathbed, if you even live that long, because bitterness takes away minutes of your life. That's a conversation for a different day, though. Again, these are just my opinions. Feel free to put your comments in the section below if you're watching this. So, number 4, and this is a big one. No matter your religious stance, you follow the teachings of kindness and compassion. That's rule number 4. That's reason number 4, way number 4. Whichever one you want to label it as, your reason, your way, your want. I grew up as a Christian. I'm no longer affiliated as a Christian. I consider myself an omnist. If you don't know what that is, I suggest you look it up. But just to give you a quick gist of it, I believe and respect the foundation of all religions, every single one of them. That means all your gods, everything, all your rules. I just have my own set of beliefs, my core values that have nothing to do with my religious stance. that I do not agree with. Raping and murdering anyone. Anyone. Men, women, and children. I don't care if you're a man wanting to rape a woman, don't do it. I don't care if you're a woman wanting to rape a man, don't do it. And for anybody who even has the sick thought of a child, go seek help right now. So it's along the lines of follow the teachings of kindness and compassion. Kindness and compassion, like I just said in way 3, reason 3, it will get you way farther in this life than being an ass. Instead of being a selfish, ignorant butthole who thinks that the whole world revolves around them and their beliefs. Because if you're trying to shove your beliefs down another person's throat, it's not, you can only try so much. And unless you're a master hypnotist or have the power to brainwash people in an instant, you're going to exert so much more energy than you want to, when you could just exert way less energy and get a lot more better benefits from the energy exertion that you're doing by being kind and courteous and compassionate. Okay? So, number 5. This is also a big one. Being racist and or ignorant, whatever you want to call it, is a choice that you make. It's a choice, guys. You know better. You are on social media. Every single one of you that's seeing this probably has a social media account. How can you say that one race is better than the other? Especially in this day and age. After everything my people have gone through, or should I say my race, because my people are the people that are there for me when I need help, and vice versa. That's it. And so when I say my race, it's more just like, yeah, there are oppressed people in every race. But saying that you're better than us just because of the way that you look or the way that we look, I want you to take a good look in the mirror and ask yourself why. Why do you think this? Was it your thoughts? Were you born with these thoughts? Or were you taught them? Were you taught them by your parents? Were you taught them by your church? Were you taught them by your school? What was it? Who taught you these? I really kind of want to know your thoughts about this, especially anybody who's watching this, because it still blows my mind, because I grew up in a predominantly white town. So I didn't really get to spend a lot of time with other people that look like me. Sorry, my cat's hair is all over the place. So I didn't really get to grow up with a lot of people that look like me. And it's kind of insane, because the first 17 years of my life, actually the first 19 years of my life, I had no issues with racism. But as soon as it was brought to my attention that I was a different color by the looks that I would get whenever I went into society without my mom, it was just like, what the crap? I don't even feel like I fit in here anymore. I don't feel like I fit in with the black community. I don't feel like I fit in with the white community. So where the fuck am I supposed to fit in? Excuse my language. So it's more along the lines of, so say you see someone, say that you are racist and or ignorant. And I'm not saying that as a bad thing, even though it is. I'm saying it as like you have the option to change. But it is your choice whether or not to take the action to change. The consistent action, because it takes 30 days to build a habit. So if you see someone that is not your race, what's your first thought? True change comes from first observing yourself and your actions and your tendencies. So when you first see someone that does not look like you, what's your first thought about them? Are you even thinking about them? Do you even notice them? Or are they all that you can think about? Are they all that you can pay attention to? I'm curious what your thoughts are. But my thought process on being a good person is that you shouldn't even notice them. You shouldn't even see their color. You should just see another human being just living a day in their life. just as you are a human being living a day in your life. Okay. So number 6. Okay. Every living creature on this planet has its purpose, and it has a right to be here. It is not up to you or anyone else to make a decision for them to be gone, aka to be put to death, to be killed for someone else's gain or pleasure, or excitement or joy. I can't stand people that have animal heads in their homes. I can't. I don't care if you're a hunter or not. Use the meat, bless the animal that was sacrificed to give you the meal. And then let it decompose back into the earth where it belongs. Instead of being fucking, instead of it being, I don't even know the term, but like kept pristine on your wall. Like, what does that do? If you need the food, cool. If you are a hunter who is bringing food back for the people of your community or for your village, cool. But poachers, especially, for doing it for the prize and the glory, what if you were on the other end of that gun? I want you to think about that. I don't care if we have more thought processes than regular animals. We all have a purpose here on this earth, or we wouldn't freaking be here. We wouldn't be here. Every single one of us, every tree, every plant, every ant, every snake, even though I don't like them, I never said I don't have to, I never said I had to like them. I'm just saying I have no right to say whether or not they die or they live. So think about that and see what side of the gun you are on. Because if you believe that you're on the other side of the gun, on this side of the gun that's aiming it, and your thoughts are glory and pride, well, you might as well be on the other side because you're just as small-minded as them. Now, I'm not sure if that made sense, but I was just kind of going with the flow. So, number 7. Number 7 is my favorite. And it's not so heavy because it deals with the tags in this video. Personal growth and personal development. Understanding that to love others, you must first learn how to love yourself. I'm going to say that again. Understanding to learn how to love others, you must first learn how to love yourself. Love your flaws and your imperfections and your perfections and your thoughts and your values and your core beliefs and your fingers and your toes and your boobs and your butt, your genitalia, because your body is a temple. Every single one of our bodies is a temple. A temple that we need to feed food that will nourish it. That we need to frequently exercise to keep it in its most peak form. To give it the rest that it desires. To not flood it with poisons like alcohol and drugs. I'm not saying recreational use every once in a while is not fun, guys. I dig it. I'm down with it. But when you're doing it all the time, you need to understand why and how that's going to affect you later down the road in like 10, 20 years. So I'm gonna stop this for a quick story. I said earlier that I'm the daughter of an addict. Granted, he wasn't an addict when I was born, but from the age of me being 5 to 18, he was on and off on crack. 2 years ago, no, my God, it wasn't even 2 years ago. I want to say like 6 months ago, he had a heart attack. Thankfully, he survived, but now he can't work. He can't lift anything over 10 pounds because of what his body has gone through. So you have to love yourself. And you have to observe yourself, and you have to observe your actions, your daily actions. Where are you putting your energy? Where are you putting your time and energy of what you're doing every day? If you have a dead-end job, what are you doing when you get home to make yourself feel better? Are you going straight to bed just to do it again the next day? Or are you doing something that you love to go to bed in a better and more positive mood instead of feeling like you're stuck on the hamster wheel? You have to observe every facet of your being to understand if you love yourself or not. Because it's internal and external. How you love others, is that a reflection of how you love yourself? And in turn, how you love yourself is a reflection of how you love others. Number 8. I think I touched on this in an earlier step or reason or way, whichever one you want to label it as. I'm sorry, wrong one. Understand that there is a balance to have between being selfish and selfless. So I'm going to break this down to you. Take it from someone who spent about a decade being the most selfish person that I ever know. Excuse my speech impediment. The most selfish person I ever know. I ever knew. Me. That's right, me. I didn't give a fuck about anybody else's thoughts, anybody else's wisdom, anybody else's advice. I was right. I was the only one that was right. I already knew everything you were going to tell me. I already knew everything that was going to happen. I already knew everything I needed to know to get through my day. Because that's all that I had in mind, was just to make it to bed the next day. And the next day. And the next day. No matter what the fuck I went through the day. As long as I go to bed and I'm able to wake up the next morning. But what kind of life is that if you have no goals and aspirations that you want to hit in that day? That way, if you do die that day, did you die doing something that you loved? Or did you die unfulfilled? And then I understood, after a long talk with my mom, not everything is about self. Not everything is about self. Being alive is something to be thankful for, because you never know when you're going to die. You could be T-boned on the interstate and never see the light of day again. It's nothing like the Final Destination movies, but it's also just like, well, do you really know that you'll see tomorrow? Or are you just assuming that you will? You can be selfish sometimes. Don't get me wrong. I was very selfish when I chose my happiness versus the comfort of my relationship, which I have been out of for a month now. It's hard, but it was worth it. Why? Because it's been a very long time since I've chosen myself. And I could say that I was selfish, and I was for the majority of not really wanting to listen to other people's advice and warnings about my future because I knew what I was already going to get into. But I've always given my energy out for everybody else. And I never chose me. I was always there for everybody else, but I never chose me. And when I did choose me, it wasn't in a healthy way. It was actually a way to, how can I put this? It was a way to deflect the pain that I felt from giving my energy to everyone else, some people that I didn't give a fuck about, or people that I did give a fuck about and they never gave a fuck about me. So there is a balance between being selfish and selfless. Whenever I see someone on the side of the road, if I can afford it, I'll give them some money. But then again, you don't know what they're going to do with that money. So I'll stop and ask them, hey, do you need food? If they say yes, I'll go into the nearest store or get fast food drive-through and I'll get them some food. Because I know exactly where my money's going. That's a conversation for a different video. Being selfish, if someone is constantly draining you, that's the moment that you choose you. Because the only person that should be depleting you of your energy is you. Under your circumstances, under your choice. So that's my thought process on way number 8. Reason number 9. Never believe that you are always right. And always believe that you can learn something new from someone you've never okay, let me rephrase. You can be a better person and be a good person overall by never believing that you are always right and that you can always learn something new from someone you may have never thought that you would. I wrote this morning as soon as I woke up, and it's now officially like 6 p.m. my time. And I wrote this at like 8 a.m. And I haven't seen it, I haven't looked at it since, but I still agree with all of these. And so you never know who you're going to learn from. Say I knew someone that was 45 years old and I'm 28. I knew someone that was 45 years old and I had this thought and I shared it of something that would benefit him and me. And he was just like, oh yeah, I've been doing this a long time. I know. But do you have anything to show for it? Are you actually being successful in that niche or in that area of your life? No? Well, if not, then maybe you should listen to the advice and only take it with a grain of salt instead of just dismissing it completely. Because once you start saying, I already know that, which is the most dangerous sentence that you can ever say because it closes your mind to new ideas and thoughts, you kind of screw yourself. You undoubtedly screw yourself, actually. A 60-year-old man can learn from a 10-year-old girl. A 40-year-old woman can learn from a 30-year-old man. But it's not age, guys. It's just different lifetimes and different experiences in different people's lives. Everyone goes through their own unique journey in this journey that we call life. And so when someone's like, well, no, I already know that. I don't need you to tell me that. Timing is everything, and the universe provides you what you need to hear or may need to hear or see at the time that you do. So you just dismissed possibly a message from the universe trying to guide you in the right path. So keep I already know that or I know that out of your vocabulary because it's only detrimental. It's not uplifting. And it only feeds your ego in a negative way because nobody knows everything. And even if you do already know that, you may not have known it in the way that the person that's telling you does. So keep that in mind. So I know I was actually thinking that I was going to keep this as a 10-minute video. And now I'm almost at 36 minutes. But it's honestly been really uplifting for me because this is a first. And I feel very confident in what I'm doing. And even though there's nobody watching this at this point, I'm doing this for me. And whoever can relate, hopefully when you see this video, it helps open your eyes a little bit. And who knows, maybe you'll give it a share. Or maybe you'll share the wisdom to someone who actually needs it. So, to finish this up and to wrap this up, number 10 is more a statement than really a reason. Life is a tough journey for everyone in their own unique way, with traumas and negative thoughts that we all have to learn how to manage. If your goal is to make someone's day worse, it's simple. You're not a good person. Because you have pain and turmoil and trauma that you need to deal with, that you need to learn how to manage, that you need to express in a healthy way, No drugs, no alcohol, sober and conscious, and understand why you want to make other people's days worse when you don't even know what they're going through. You don't even know what they're going through. So if that's your motivation to get out of bed in the morning, maybe you should just stay in bed. Because we all have shit that we got to deal with, man. Every single one of us. So instead of wanting to make people's day worse, get up and see how many people's day you can make better. That's all I got for you guys. Because that one, it's straightforward. I don't need to explain it. And if I do, well, you can leave me a comment and I'll directly get with you when I can. Peace, love, and light to you, to anyone and all of you who are seeing this. I don't know when my next video is going to be. I kind of just do this when I feel the call to. And today, when I pulled this card, that was the call to. So we'll see. You can subscribe if you want to. It would be nice to have someone hear my words other than me. But if they don't, so be it. But just remember, love trumps hate. Kindness wins over hate. Compassion and understanding trump hate. And there's already enough hate in this world, guys. Don't add to it. Because when you're dead, or when you're on your deathbed, you're going to want to look back at the things that you've accomplished that were good for you, and that were positive for you, and that were beneficial for the world. For the world. And what would you actually be able to say? Leave those answers in the comment below. I'd love to read them. Light and love your way, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day, night, afternoon, evening, morning, whatever time it is.